الله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى خصوصا على أفضلهم وخاتم النبيين محمد الأمين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. The question is, what is the difference between a riba transaction, money being lent on interest, and a business transaction? Who would like to answer? Yes, okay. Anybody else?
In business you can lose the investment.
That's right. In a business transaction, you embrace something called risk. What is risk?
Risiko.
Risiko. Not risk, huh? But this is from Razak, not risk. This is risk. In a business transaction, therefore, you can make a profit or you can suffer a loss. When you embrace risk, then Allah can take from some and give to others. And so wealth would circulate through the economy. One day for you, one day for me. The rich who are rich today can be poor tomorrow. And the poor who are poor today can be rich tomorrow. That's only fair. The money lender does not want to suffer loss. So the money lender runs away from business. He is scared of business because he is scared that Allah would take away his wealth. The money lender wants to remain forever rich. And so he lends money on interest. And in so doing, he seeks to eliminate all possibilities of loss. Whether the sun shines or the rain falls, he must get his profit and suffer no loss. Because there is the possibility that the borrower might default on the payment, the money lender seeks something called collateral, a mortgage, like property, land, building, something, that in the event that you default, he can seize your property and recover the money that is loan plus the interest. And so when an economy is based on riba, the first implication is that money, wealth will no longer circulate through the economy. No. The rich will now remain permanently rich and keep on growing richer and richer. The poor will now be imprisoned in permanent poverty and will keep on growing poorer and poorer. And so the first objective of the money lender is to preserve his wealth, immunize his wealth from loss, and constantly increase his wealth. That's the first. But that's not the only reason. No. There are money lenders and money lenders. There are some money lenders who are content with this, to remain forever rich. But there are other money lenders who have a more sinister agenda. And Allah speaks about that in the Quran in Surah Imran. When He gives the order, لا تأكلوا الربا أضعافا مضاعفة. Do not consume riba, because the riba constantly multiplies. And so they'll put a rope around your neck. And every day the rope is going to become, the noose is going to become tighter and tighter. And you will be strangled. There is one interest which is known as simple interest. But there's another one known as compound interest. And the riba keeps on multiplying. And so if the money lender wants to enslave Indonesia, what he will do is to send what he calls an economic hitman to calculate your capacity to repay a loan, and to then lend you more than you can possibly repay. And once you sign for that, he will ensure that that money which is loaned to Indonesia does not reach the people. That money must be used to fatten those who are servants of the money lender, who will act on his behalf, so they'll be grateful for all the dollars that they're getting. And Indonesia will eventually find itself repaying that loan to such an extent that after you repay the interest every month, you don't even have nasi to eat. And so you are enslaved. And so riba is used for a second reason: to attack you and to enslave you. Those who want to rule the world from Jerusalem are a people who have used riba to further that objective of eventually ruling over all of mankind. What do we do? Answer: we must abstain from riba. Do not borrow money on interest. And do not put your money in a fixed deposit and become a money lender. But our enemies are people with PhDs in deception. And they come with many fraudulent arguments. That actually what the Quran is speaking about is an exorbitant rate of interest. And if the rate of interest is moderate or low rate of interest, that's halal. That's false. It matters not whether the rate of interest or the riba is big or small. It is still haram. Whether it be one glass of whiskey or one sip of whiskey, it is still haram. Whether it be one plate full of lahmul khinzir or one spoonful of lahmul khinzir, it is still haram. They come with other arguments as well, like they did in Egypt when the British colonized Egypt. They established the post office, and all the Egyptians could see that the post office was a beneficial institution, that anybody could go to the post office and send a letter and pay a small fee, and it will be delivered. In order to raise funds to establish the post office, the post office establishment invited people to invest in the post office. If they were investing on the basis of a business transaction, namely, if the post office makes a profit, you share in the profit. Or if the post office suffers a loss, you share in the loss. That's halal. That's business. But they didn't do that. They said, we want you to invest in the post office in Egypt with a guaranteed return on your investment. Which meant that you were lending your money on interest. No possibility of loss. So you were lending your money on interest. Sheikh al-Azhar at that time was Sheikh Muhammad Abdu. And Sheikh Muhammad Abdu gave the fatwa that this is halal. And from that day to this day, Al-Azhar University has held on to that fatwa. That money which is put in a fixed deposit in a bank is not riba, because the bank uses that money for economic development from which people benefit.